Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Let's get into it. Today, I want to talk about my diagnosis story, or exactly how I accidentally found out I had type 1 diabetes. And I'm telling you how I accidentally found out I had diabetes so that you can go get checked before you get to the point that I do. Because we did not, we should have caught it earlier, but we did not. So, this is kind of how it happened. I got diagnosed in February. I'm not exactly sure what year, but I know I was at least in between 7 to 9 years old. So I'm gonna just say for this video, I was 8 years old, because I'm pretty sure that's how old I was, okay? Free hot dogs. I just got a weird text about free hot dogs. I think it's a scam. I was around, let's say I was 8 years old. It was December, it was Christmas Eve, was the first warning sign. Now, probably the year leading up to it, I know I was losing a ton of weight to the point that I was like rib skinny, but we didn't really know what was happening. I was living at my dad's half of the time, half time at my mom's. So there was a little conflict there because I would get to each other's house and they would just keep feeding me more and think that the other person wasn't taking good care of me. Obvious diagnoses that would have been caught maybe if they were working together as a little team, it would have worked out a bit different, but it unfortunately did not. It was Christmas Eve, and I remember I was at my dad's house and I was downstairs with all my cousins, and there was this giant jube Christmas tree, okay, with little toothpicks poking out with gummies. And I went really hardcore. I was addicted to candy, and no, diabetes does not come from eating too much sugar. Okay, get that out of your mind before we start this video, because I will not continue. Eating all these jubes, okay, going ham, and I start to feel really sick. Now that I think about it, I was feeling the symptoms of a high blood sugar, but I felt so sick, and all my family just thought I had too much sugar. Ate too much candy, and I felt sick, which would be obviously the only thing to really think about because I ate so much candy, okay? Ended up spending the rest of the night in my room, in bed, feeling like trash, and that was just horrible. I remember feeling like really sick. I probably threw up. I couldn't get out of bed. Time went on, felt better the next day, I guess. Things went back to normal. Now somewhere in between here from December to February, I got diagnosed with pneumonia. I was in the hospital. I was really sick. I don't know if it's related to getting diabetes or it was because of the diabetes that I got so sick from pneumonia. I don't even know how that happened, but I was put on antibiotics, and I remember the antibiotics weren't working. Again, why didn't they just test me for diabetes? So this is why it's really important to know these symptoms, okay? I remember, so I'm going back to school. I think the antibiotics finally worked, but I was pretty sick. I get home one day and I was like, Mom, I'm so thirsty, like I can't stop drinking. And it was really embarrassing because I would go over to friends' house and they were like, even my little friends were like, you're losing a lot of weight, like I can see your ribs. And I was like, oh, I guess so. Like, I don't know, like I was a kid, I didn't really know. I was just, I guess I'm losing a lot of weight, but I was always a really skinny child. I was still growing like crazy, like I'm 5'11", so I was always just on this massive growth spurt, just going up, okay? Remember, I like got home one day and I was like, Mom, I've been so thirsty, I can't stop drinking. And I go to the kitchen and I'm drinking milk, I'm drinking juice, I'm drinking water, and nothing's taking the thirst away. I'm peeing like crazy. At this point, this is happening for a few days. I'm wetting the bed, like it was really, really bad. I had no control of my bladder. And the amount of fluids I was flushing through my body was just like insane. Like it felt like I was living in a desert for weeks, okay? Keep this in mind. We just moved into a shared house. We were really, really poor at this time. This is with me and my mom. And we were living at a place in Richmond. And this is just a little foreshadowing because we're gonna have to mention why living in Richmond was actually really, really lucky for my diagnosis. Wake up one morning and when I think about it, I must have felt sick, and this was my way to communicate to my mom that I didn't want to go, but I lied to her and I was like, Mom, I've got a sore throat, I don't want to go to school. And she was like, you gotta go to school, Mary. And I was like, I don't want to go to school, I have a sore throat, I'm sick. She was like, well, guess what then? We're gonna take you to the doctor then if you have a sore throat. And I was like, really? You're gonna go through all that effort to prove that I have a sore throat? She was like, yeah, we'll go get you tested for strep throat, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, she got me in the car and I was still adamant that I had a sore throat. I really just didn't want to go to school, okay? We're driving, and this was the worst part. When we were driving to the doctor, we literally had to stop at the convenience store, I think like 1 to 3 times, and I would just chug. And when you think about it, I was chugging juice, and considering we find out my blood sugar was high, this was really, really bad because I'm just adding to that sugar and my blood is just turning into acid and it's really, really bad. We get to the doctor and I recently found out by talking to my mom that I actually started going unconscious in the lobby. I didn't really know this. Obviously, I was not feeling good. I don't know why I had to say I had a sore throat though, okay? And my mom goes up to the doctor. I remember hearing this and I was really embarrassed for some reason, but she was like, can you test her for diabetes? And in my head, I'm like, Mom, that's just for people that can't have sugar, people that are overweight. Like that's the stereotypes that I learned as a kid, which is 100% wrong. Now I'm like an advocate for those stereotypes because they drive me nuts. Then I did a pee test and gave the cup to the doctor really fast after she came out and she's like, we have an emergency. Your blood sugar is at 44, okay? The conversion of that for people that live in the States, or maybe if you measure it other places, is 792. So it is up there, okay? From there, she was like, we have to get you to the hospital immediately, but unfortunately you don't live in Richmond, so we can't send you to the Children's Hospital. We have to get you on a helicopter and send you to Vancouver Island, which is funnily enough where I live now. But this is why I said remember in Richmond, because we just moved there. So luckily we were able to go to the Children's Hospital in Richmond, BC. Told her that and she was like, okay, well I recommend taking an ambulance, but if you can drive her to my mom and watch her, just keep your eyes on her because she could just pass out at any point. I think explaining I could go into a coma. You just have to watch her on the way to the hospital. The hospital in time, they probably shot me up with some insulin, which is hella good. That's kind of where it all started. I remember I was so scared to test my blood sugar for the first time, so the doctor was like, oh, we'll let your mom do it first. So my mom poked her finger. Funnily enough, she actually has hypoglycemia. And then I was like, okay, I can do it now. Like, let me do it. And then I poked my finger and I was like, ow, that hurt like a lot. They were like, well, you're gonna be doing that all the time. And I was like, oh man, but now needles don't even faze me, so that's pretty good. If you're newly diagnosed, you're gonna get so used to it. It's not that scary. If you're doing site changes, by the way, a doctor told me this once, is like have a nice bath, soften your skin, and then do a site change. That helped me as a kid. If you're a little scared of doing the site changes, because they can be loud and go pow. After that night, we get back to the house, and one of the roommates in this house goes up to my mom and says, oh, your daughter was diagnosed with diabetes, because I guess my mom told him. And he was like, oh, I have a cure for that. Like, there's these herbs I can give you. And now, if you say that to me, you don't want to be near me. You don't want to be near me. There is no cure, okay? We're not even gonna go there. Where I live, the program was amazing because you were gonna have to go for private coaching and group coaching with other diabetics to learn for like a week or a few days to make sure you know how to do insulin doses, teaching the families. And now, luckily me, after pneumonia, after diabetes, guess what I got? I got lice. I had a whole zoo up here. I actually kind of lucked out with the lice because of the fact that I got private coaching, one-on-one with the doctors for like, I think it was like 3 days straight. We just kept coming back, injections, teaching about how to count carbs, subtract the fibers, insulin doses. They gave us like a meal plan on how I should eat with my diet, which I should probably still follow, which I do not. That's just kind of how my diagnosis story went, how I accidentally found I had diabetes. If any of those symptoms that I mentioned before, go get a blood test or a urine test. It does not hurt. It's definitely better to be safe than sorry because I was probably on the edge of having a coma or dying because like that's the worst case scenario. Yeah, so that's kind of how I got diabetes, guys. And I will say overall, I am very grateful that I was diagnosed as a kid because I don't know my life any other way than having diabetes. Like, I would not know what to do if I had to eat an apple and not take insulin for it. Like, that would be weird to me. So I'm thankful that I didn't get it in adulthood. I have a cousin that recently got diagnosed on my dad's side. So I think there is a gene in somewhere with there with diabetes. He got diagnosed with type 1. And it's a bigger life change getting diagnosed as an adult, I can say, because everything you have to change your whole lifestyle, how you eat, you get used to everything, and it's just a lot of work. So if anyone, any age is going through this diagnosis, it's hard. To parents out there dealing with it, it is hard. I will say I'm so thankful that the point we are now in the world, technology has really grown. So like CGMs, when I first got diagnosed, they recommended not to get a CGM because there was just too many things and they didn't work well. And so I would have to get tested and poke my finger in the middle of the night. It was hell for my parents, unfortunately. So And it still is. If you even have the technology that you have now, it is so difficult as a parent. Buddy, don't listen to comments out there. People do not know what you're going through, especially for parents or people that are diagnosed with diabetes. No one can really understand it. Unfortunately, even my closest friends, my closest family, you don't understand it unless you're living through it. Like, it's really difficult. Funnily enough, my blood sugar's high right now, so we got my dinosaur with the dexcom on it. We're a little mashing guys, and yeah. That out there, I love y'all. Subscribe, comment, turn on post notifications. And if you have any more questions about like symptoms or anything like that for highs or lows, I can get more into detail about that. But my message out to you today is that if you're feeling any sort of reason that you might have diabetes, just go get it checked. Go get it checked out. And yeah, I'm gonna be doing a what I eat on a day here soon. I swear to God. So yeah, I'll keep y'all posted. Okay, love you guys. Bye.